Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Shout out to the people yesterday that was calling me a clickbaiter. Shout out to y'all, man. Because yesterday we did a live talking about some news about LeBron. Oh, man. Oh, man. Charles, he over there clickbaiting. He clickbaiting. Until the news went live all throughout the internet last night, and I ain't seen these people. Oh, you over there clickbaiting. Stop clickbaiting. This is what they've been doing, right? So yesterday we did a live show about the news about LeBron potentially being out till the late December, but that was from LakersDaily.com. Just for like an hour later to see the news breaking all over the internet. All these various accounts were talking about it. And then it became official when Shams from ESPN on NBA Countdown basically said LeBron is expected to take a patient approach before his Lakers season debut. So for those of you who didn't hear what Shams had to say, I want to play his comments for you now, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Shams here on ESPN speaking to Malika Andrews yesterday.
Welcome in our senior insider, Shams Charania, and also a recent Believe That award winner. Shout out Anthony Edwards there. But Shams, you have some news on what this timeline could look like here for LeBron James.
Malika, I'm told that the Lakers and LeBron are looking at around mid-November as a realistic debut for him. And so October 30th would be the earliest that the Lakers would be officially reevaluating LeBron James, but it is expected he will need at least a few weeks after that point. A source told me tonight that LeBron will be taking a patient approach with this rehab from nerve injury. And so the ramp-up process for this will be a lot of basketball-shaped conditioning work, because remember, as I reported last week on NBA Today, LeBron James first suffered this nerve issue during an on-court workout in late July, early August. He wasn't able to have that normal LeBron James offseason that we're accustomed to. And as superhuman as he's been throughout his NBA career, he is turning 41 in December, and he is in year 23. So that's the timeline on LeBron James at some point in November, likely around that mid-November range.
Okay, likely looking at mid-November there. Shams, thank you very much for that insight.
Excellent. So you heard what Shams had to say. Now I want to read from an article from Yahoo Sports with the following headline stating, LeBron James reportedly targeting mid-November debut after missing Lakers opener due to sciatica. Continues on. Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James will miss nearly a month before making his season debut with the Lakers. James was 40, reportedly looking at a mid-November return after being diagnosed with sciatica, per Shams from ESPN. And then continues on. It says, sciatica is pain that travels down the sciatic nerve, often the result of a herniated disc. The sciatic nerve runs from the lower back through the glute down through the leg. James reportedly sustained the injury during an on-court workout in late July or early August, per Shams. James will reportedly take a cautious approach as he rehabs from the issue. James will be 41 in December, is still considered one of the best players in the NBA despite his age. Last season, he averaged 24.5 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 8.2 assists, and 7.8 rebounds for the Lakers. While sidelined, Luka Doncic will be tasked with carrying a heavier workload to open the season. Doncic spent the offseason trying to cut weight to be in better shape when the season begins. His conditioning and hard work will be put to test immediately with James out to start the year. Doncic, okay, and then it went on to say a few other things there. What are my thoughts about this? First of all, I told you so. I told you so. Now let's get to the larger issue and let's talk about what I said about what we put in the title. A lot of this just seems too coincidental to me. A lot of this just seems too convenient to me. And no one in media is really discussing this. Not Shams, not Dave McMenamin, not any of them. They're not really discussing the fact that LeBron is not happy that the Lakers didn't give him an extension. These guys are not broaching that particular issue. And I believe it's playing a major role here. Why am I saying this? Well, let's go back to what he said during the Summer League game that he went to go attend in Las Vegas to watch his son play. When they asked him, hey, do you have any thoughts about the Lakers' upcoming season? He said he has nothing to say. He told the reporter, he has nothing to say. Really? Then after that, we got the news from Dave McMenamin via his agent, that four teams were interested in trading for LeBron: the Clippers, the Cavs, the Dallas Mavericks, and and the Golden State Warriors. And we're like, what? We hear that. Then, not too long after that, LeBron goes on his social media account and posts a picture of him training in front of the Clippers training facility. And we're like, why would you do this? Why would you post that image? That was him basically saying, look, okay, that was him doing his usual passive-aggressive stuff. And then now we get the news that LeBron was going to be ready for training camp. He even said it during media day. Did you hear him mention anything about sciatic nerve? All he spoke about was his nagging ankle injury. I think his MCL or whatever it is, ACL last year that he sprained or whatever. And that was it. Then out of nowhere, we heard, he hurt himself in July. We heard nothing about this on media day when the season started. And now we heard, he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Then we heard, LeBron and his guys are going to be monitoring how the Lakers do during this period where he's out. That if they're not competitive, then he may put in a trade request. Then all of a sudden now we're hearing he won't be back until mid-November. All of this just seems a little bit too coincidental. And we're talking about LeBron James, who has a history of antics. A long, drawn-out history of one antic after another antic after another antic. So this really doesn't surprise me. And I wouldn't put it past him that this is just his way of sticking it to the Lakers. Because it just keeps they just keep extending the stock. If you're coming back in January, there is going to be some issues when you try to integrate him. They said it on Gil's Arena yesterday. You're not going to have any continuity with those guys. You're missing an entire training camp with Luka. So you're not going to try to integrate this guy into what they're doing heading into January and All-Star break. And so the Lakers is going to have to figure it out with him figure it out without him this year. And who's to say something is not going to pop up next year when he comes back? Who's to say it? LeBron is done in LA. Or rather, he's done with the Lakers. He's moving on. His fan base is moving on. They're fed up of the Lakers. They don't like the Lakers. They feel like the Laker fan base is not appreciative enough of him. And they want to see them sink into the Western Conference standings and sink into the damn Pacific Ocean if they could have it. If the Lakers can go and be a playing team, LeBron fans will love it. They're not for the Lakers. They're for LeBron. That's the end all be all of I'm repeating his ass. End all be all of it all. They're not interested in what suits the Lakers. They don't care. They don't care. That's the reason why the Lakers could get knocked out in round one and they could be up there hollering, you made the all-first NBA, second NBA team. He averaged 20. That's what they live off of. They live off of stats and accolades. They don't care whether the team won or not. They don't care. They don't care. Trust me. They don't care. If the Lakers went on to win a championship without LeBron, they would be pissed off. Pissed off. But they would collect that ring, though. The thing that they say is weird, they would collect that, though. Gilbert Arenas has been making headlines over the last 24 hours or so because of a conversation that he had. I don't know the name of the streaming platform. He was on there with his host, Josiah himself, Brandon Jennings, and Lowe. So I guess there was a part where they were talking about his ownership structure and all of that other stuff. And he's made a lot of headlines with that and why he changed the name. I really don't care. It's none of my business. That's Gil's business one way or the other. But I do know that he did say during some of that sound that Gil's Arena, the arena, is going to be back in terms of NBA content mid-October. And yesterday was mid-October. So these guys came back and they were discussing, many things, what's going on with Giannis, his future out there, talking about the top teams coming into the season. They spoke about Russell Westbrook. But then they also spoke about the elephant in the room in Los Angeles, which is the Lakers and LeBron James. As you guys know, LeBron is currently on his last year of his contract with the Lakers. And many people out there have speculated that he's not happy about that. And I'm one of them. I'm also one of the people that I believe has been ahead of this story that said that this guy is not going to go away quietly. I said it. I said he's not going to go away quietly. It's not going to be a quiet last year for the Lakers. He's going to go out there and make a stink of it. So yesterday they got the crew together. It was everybody. It was Rashard McCann. Shout out to Rashard McCann, Kenyon Martin, Brandon Jennings, Swaggy P, and Gilbert Arenas. So they were talking about this, what's going on with LeBron not being available and all of this. And then Rashard McCants, he brought up a good point. He started calling out LeBron because he believes that LeBron is not taking this season seriously. And none of his actions show that this guy is taking the season seriously. And he looks like he's just mailing it in. I'm like, thank God we got Rashard back on the panel, man. So what we're going to do is we're going to play what he had to say here. And we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Rashard McCants had to say.
You know what I'm saying? Keeping it trill. Way. They need to move around. Hold it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things could have happened. Like, let's just be honest. When LeBron is locked in, he makes the runs. He takes his teams to the next level when he's locked in. He don't look locked in at all this summer. Even when he was with AD, him and AD were locked in. For at least 3 years, they were locked in. They still didn't have pieces that could take them where they wanted to go, but we knew when them two guys got on the floor together, the Lakers could make a run. Whether it was going to third or going to fifth or sixth or even getting out of the play-in, we knew that the Lakers, with LeBron locked in, we gonna do this. Not being ready for the season opener, not being locked in with Luka. DeAndre Ayton comes in, whether you're locked in with Austin Reeves or not, like the team will have no cohesiveness right now. And you were more locked in with JJ when he wasn't the coach, when you was on the podcast, than you are now that he is the coach and trying to figure out why JJ is saying, man, I got to accept guys where they are. I can't expect guys to come in and have the Kobe mindset.
Is that what JJ said?
I don't know. I just heard it through the grapevine, getting DMs. They said somebody like Kobe. And I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense. But you can't take away when Bron is locked in what the happened and what kind of impact he has on the game. I just think at this time it's just about everything else but winning. And for the Los Angeles Lakers to make a real run at championship aspirations with a Luka Doncic who has been to the finals, who got a little taste of what it feels like to be there and get close to the championship with Kyrie Irving, to not do it with LeBron James, to come back and say, all right, let's run it back. Let's see if we can get closer this time. And for them not to have a cohesive unit and chemistry right now, like I had sciatica, so I know what that like. That but it looked like a goddamn joke to me.
What do locked in for LeBron look like? Do anybody know that?
Miami Heat.
I mean, whatever. I mean,
But he was still out doing.
no. What I'm saying is, when they was in Miami Heat, they was they were together as a unit though. They was together
all
as a group.
TikTok challenges in Miami.
No, but I'm saying they was a group. They was a unit.
Wayne wasn't having that, man.
But I'm saying they went to lunch together. They went to dinner together.
Yes.
They went to movies together. Like
Locked in.
LeBron makes you do that. He makes you be a team. But so the fact that these guys hasn't practiced together though. Like, come on, think about where we are.
I know, but I'm
They
just
haven't
saying, it's
practiced
summertime.
together. But they haven't practiced.
That's the only time you do it is
Out
summertime.
there, wherever he at, playing in the
Yes.
league, losing weight, locked in. LeBron 40-something. He's out here trying to figure out if he's going to be a Laker or somewhere
Yeah, but
else.
that's what I'm saying. But we're in October.
But he's still LeBron.
No,
He done
LeBron is
seen
LeBron. We're
everything.
talking about a team thing. So that, like, let's imagine me and you on the same team, and me and you never worked out yet. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you like, right? It's gonna take some time. So the fact that they're not doing this in training camp or in practice, like, oh, let me see how you like your passes. How do you like your lobs? Do you like bounce passes? Or you like
Nick, you
right?
know better, bro.
But
You played
I'm
with
just
the
saying,
Warriors.
That's
You
what I'm
played-
saying. Steve Kerr told us don't touch a ball, don't come back into training camp.
But when you got there,
Stay where you at.
when you
enjoy
got there,
yourself,
Nick,
go on vacation, because when you
was
come
those
back,
guys already locked in with each other when you got there?
Yeah.
But
Answer
I'm
that
saying,
question though.
They played together, but
yes.
they
So-
didn't see each other in the summertime.
But
like,
look, already know each
They
other.
know each other,
know
bro.
each
They
other's
don't.
tendencies.
They ain't even
These
got to
are-
do that.
You got new players on this team. Like, one is a main guy that is he a pop guy? How does he roll guy? That's what I'm saying. It's like you would try to get that before the season, but we had training camp to learn that.
that's the only thing. They don't got training camp.
Yeah.
That shit preseason started like that.
But the timing, Ayton actually said in a press conference, the timing with Luka, I got to figure out, how to go get the lob because it's his eyes that show when to go, and I ain't really locked in with how he do it yet. So now you got to learn on the fly now. Now that's a turnover here, a turnover there. Now you got to go in the huddle and be like, my bad, I'm still trying to get acclimated to how you throw lobs when we could have been doing this when I got signed. The moment I got signed, as a leader, I'm like, let me go get with the big fella because I'm going to need him.
So you heard his comments. What are my thoughts about it? I think it's clear. And he's not the first person that's pointing this out. Skip Bayless pointed it out. As other people, it's obvious. It's obvious. Listen to the string of events. First one was LeBron is missing the first day of training camp. Okay. Then next thing you know, he went to that Kai Cenat stream. He was dancing it up. Then he's going to miss the entire training camp. We're like, okay. Then he's going to miss all of preseason. Okay. Then he's going to miss the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season. Then all of a sudden, now he's going to be out till potentially December. And we're like, what the hell is going on here? And McCann is speaking from a standpoint of a former player. And he's speaking from the standpoint of somebody who has had to go to training camp and understands what the ramp up process is going into every NBA season. He knows this. He also knows the reputation of LeBron, that he's been meticulous about his preparation year in and year out. So to see this drop off where the guy just seems to be unbothered and is doing this and doing that, he's like, wait a minute, this guy doesn't really seem to be locked in the way that he normally once was. And even his panel members brought up some good points. The host said, well, he saw the love that they was giving Luka, so that he made have felt the kind of way about that. They sold the team. They didn't let him know nothing about that. They're making plans for the future. They didn't let him know nothing about that. He's like, so I'm not going to be like, I'm not part of your future. You guys didn't even extend me. So what happens this year really doesn't matter. Even they know it. All while collecting $52.6 million. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite up here because Kawhi Leonard was my favorite player. Kind of is in a way, but anyway. And Kawhi has picked up tens of millions of dollars and has missed a whole bunch of times. So I'm not going to be that hypocritical. But you understand the point, and you can understand why now the Lakers decided not to extend him. You can understand now. The Lakers are moving on. LeBron understands that, and he's like, okay, so y'all moving on from me? I'm going to take my sweet time. Y'all think y'all going to get 100% of my effort? It won't happen. I wish you guys the best in the future with Luka and all of that stuff, and you guys figure it out on your own. I'll be back when I'm back, and we'll see where you're at. And I don't think he gives a damn about winning any more championships for the Lakers. I think he has concluded that thought process in his brain. He is donezo with that. And he's making it abundantly clear. The timeline just keeps getting pushed out further and further and further and further and further. And there's nothing that the Lakers can do because they have to pay him. Looks like we officially got the announcement of who is going to be replacing Molly Qerim. As you guys know, about a month or so ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, Molly Qerim shocked everybody with her abrupt departure from ESPN. We actually did a show about it yesterday, reacting to some comments that Chris Mad Dog Russo had to say, where he felt like Molly felt embarrassed by the fact that she was going to be demoted. They weren't going to give her an increase. He also said they were planning to remove her from First Take, which is something that that shocked me. All I heard was it had to do about them essentially lowballing her, not offering her more money, although she had been on that show for 10 years. And people like Malika Andrews and others earning more. That's what I heard. But then Chris Mad Dog brought in an entirely different wrinkle. But initially when the news happened, I was confused. And a lot of our viewers were actually educating me because I'm like, where's Molly? And they're like, bro, Molly's gone. Because I kept on seeing various different people on TV. And then we started to hear that there was going to be an auditioning period for various people to kind of see if they can fill in that role. And we had a few other people there. We had a black lady that did the show. I forgot her name. We had a guy who also had a kind of a back and forth with, what's his name? Ryan Clark from ESPN. And then this afternoon, we got the bombshell update that Shea Cornette is meant to replace Molly Qerim. So I'm going to read from a headline here from an awful announcement. It says, Shea Cornette to replace Molly Qerim as host of First Take. Let's read it and continue on what the article says. The news came comes nearly 1 month to the day Qerim left ESPN, and then continues on. 1 month after Molly Qerim resigned from her role on First Take, ESPN has chosen a replacement. According to a report from Front Office Sports, Shay Cornett will take over as a full-time host of the morning debate show, with the network confirming the news to the outlet. Cornett's promotion is hardly a surprise, as the Sports Center anchor has been one of First Take's primary fill-in hosts in days Qerim wasn't present in recent years. The Indiana University alum first joined ESPN in 2020 following the stint on ESPN 1000, Fox 32, blah, 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 blah. It then continues on. Shay is meticulous in her preparation, connects naturally with our show's high-profile personalities, and has a unique ability to keep lively debate engaging and on point. ESPN executive president David Roberts said in a statement to Front Office Sports, her professionalism, presence, and energy make her an ideal fit for First Take and a great addition to one of ESPN's most successful franchises. Stephen A. Smith officially announced the news during Thursday's episode of First Take, noting that Cornett will take over as the show's host on November the 3rd. So Stephen A. Smith then made a few comments there. It also says Cornett was part of a rotating cast of hosts that ESPN auditioned on First Take in the month since Qerim's departure amid contract negotiations. Speaking to The Athletic's Richard Deitch, ESPN's president of content, Burke Magnus, said that the network would audition hosts over a 30 to 45 day period, with Thursday's news coming nearly 1 month to the day of his comments. And then continues on with a few other things. He said, while we knew that we were going to make a change, her deal ran through the end of the year. We were more focused on that timeline, Magnus said, referring to Qerim no longer remaining a part of First Take if she remained at ESPN. So we're going to take probably 30 to 45 days to try a variety of in-house people, because we can do that on that show. Then we'll make a decision shortly after that. In the month since, First Take also auditioned Amina Smith, that's the person, Peter Schrager, Courtney Cronin, and a few others. I can't pronounce the name. And in the article went on to say a few other things there. What are my thoughts about this? Look, it's the business, man. It's the business. And business must go on. The show must go on, right? The show must go on. And I don't want to say it's a cutthroat business, because no one is irreplaceable, man. No one. Even us here. If we stop doing the show and we just say, we're going to take a break for the next 6 months to a year, we'll be forgotten. As we should be. Do you know why? Because the people that are working the hardest and being the most consistent should always be rewarded. It's just that simple. And Molly, although she had been on that show for 10 years, people have a short memory span. They'll forget, as they usually do. They will forget. They're going to move on and forget. That's why you see, and usually what happens is, it's very difficult, and I've noticed this, it's very difficult for people who have been on television to remain relevant after they're off television. It's very few people can do that. For goodness sake, look at Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was always there being quoted, and then he's off television, and then he's just one guy there. Now, he is a part of the arena now, their NFL segment of what they're doing there, but I mean, out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. Now, obviously, Molly earned a lot of money working there. Molly has experience in that role. I wouldn't be shocked if she ends up working somewhere else. Maybe works for FS1 or works for a news corporation. I mean, look at Will Cain. Will Cain used to work at ESPN. You guys used to remember him on there having those arguments with Max Kellerman and all of that stuff a number of years ago, and then he ended up at Fox. So who's to say that Molly won't end up being somewhere else? We also heard that she wanted to host her own show, and ESPN was reluctant to do that. But if I had to put a bet on it, usually what happens is these guys kind of leave TV. They have a little grace period, and then they kind of go do their own podcast. I've seen a lot of people do it. I saw Carrie Champion do it. I saw a few other people do it. If they don't do that, then they probably go join another company that kind of got things rolling, and then they just bounce around all over and over and over and over. It's very few people that can actually maintain themselves and keep it going. One of the few people that have been able to do that successfully is Shannon Sharp. That's what really made him such a triple threat. Like, the guy was just former athlete. He could do well on TV. He can do well off TV. He's one of the few. I mean, there are a few others here and there, but it's going to be very, very difficult, because now if you come into the independent space, you're in the wild, wild west, my boy. You're in the wild, 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 and your name can only take you so far. That's why you see some of these guys are holding on for their life to stay on TV. So you could look down on people in the independent space. Son, the fact that you seeing me and I wasn't on TV, that says a lot. Because the chances of me seeing you and you was not on TV and you just had to come up here and do it, it would be just not gonna happen, bro. It's just too hard. It's too damn hard. That's why I'd be stunned when these people be looking down on independent guys. Well, eventually sports media will catch up. They're still playing this game of, they're not journalists or we never saw them on TV. News channels are beginning to pick up on it. Go look at who you see showing up on some of these news networks now. It's a lot of guys from the independent space because they're realizing, oh, damn, wait a minute, these guys can get audience. A lot of them. And the guys in the political realm, they're blowing out the guys that aren't even on TV, right? So I guess we have to wait and see where Molly ends up. She has a lot of connections, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like, it's going to be tough, and you just can't throw money at the problem. I've seen people come off of TV and they feel, okay, you know what? I'm going to drop $500,000. I'm going to drop $1 million. I'm going to invest this. I'm going to invest. I'm going to invest that. It's like, okay, bro, it's all nice and dandy, but at the end of the day, all of that don't really matter. It don't really matter. You can spend, yeah, you want to have a nice setup and all of that, but this ain't $100,000 setup we got going on over here. And we pushing 250. We're going to be at 300,000 subs soon. This ain't no $100,000 set. You don't need that. Yeah, it matters to a point, but it doesn't really matter as much as a lot of people think it does, because on YouTube and over here, you got to be a little bit more authentic. If it seems to control, people don't want to watch TV again. This is YouTube, man. We spent quite a bit of time this week talking about Stephen A. Smith because he made a lot of news, right? He caught a lot of flack for some of his comments that were directed towards U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett. And a lot of people came out in her defense. D.L. Hughley, Roland Martin, Willie D., and many others, to the point where Stephen A. Smith had to do a show kind of rebutting some of the things that they had to say about him. And we covered that. We gave our thoughts on it, and a good amount of people concurred with what we had to say. So I was kind of done with this topic. If you notice, we didn't say anything about it yesterday. And I said, okay, I was going to move on. But right before I was preparing to shoot, one of our viewers sent me a clip. Now, earlier, I'd actually seen a clip of Stephen A. Smith this afternoon when I was looking for what to talk about. He actually made an appearance on News Nation yesterday. He was on there with a panel, I believe, of Bill Riley, hosted by Chris Cuomo, obviously. Adam Mockler, who was there, who I think is part of Midas Touch, he was there as well. And they were just essentially talking about the state of affairs of the United States. And, he was there giving his viewpoints. So this viewer sends me over this clip, right? And he goes, check this out. And it has the following title. It was an Instagram clip. It says, the Democratic Party has to do better. So I then decided to click on this video to see what Stephen A. Smith had to say. And in this video, he's kind of doubling down on what he said about Jasmine Crockett, but he's also calling out the Democratic Party, fervently. He's really going at them. So what we want to do is I want to play what Stephen A. Smith had to say here, and then want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
This notion that I'm supposed to be siding with the Democrats. Don't you know who I am? I'm a centrist. I'm Stephen A. I'm not married to either side. Don't like either of them. And I believe this particular Democratic Party should be purged. I'm not talking about the individuals. I'm not talking about how, Hakeem Jeffries should go away or Schumer and AOC or whatever should go away. I'm talking about the apparatus that exists. The leaderless rut that it is. Seemingly no direction. What principled position do you stand on? Etc. You don't have it. You don't have it. Why am I saying this? Not because I want you to lose. This is because I want you to get it together, and legitimately compete with the other side and stop riding the coattails of a last election that you keep living off of, talking about you only lost by 1.5%. When in fact, it's not about that being the reality. It's about where Biden was in 2020 and where you regress to by 2024. That number was more precipitous. And because I ask these questions, I have to sit here and defend my character for asking a question and saying Is that going to work for you? To be every bit as belligerent as the president? Listen, Gavin Newsom could try that out as the governor of California. He's about to leave office. He's got a term limit out there. He's departing and trying to keep himself relevant for a potential run in 2028. That makes total sense. If you're in Congress now, you got work to do.
So you heard what he had to say. Here's what I think, and I'm being honest, because I also read through some of the comments that people left on that particular post. But here's what I think. I think Stephen A. Smith would be better suited if he came out and said he's a Republican. And I'm not trying to be facetious here. I'm not trying to be funny or sly or anything like that. I'm being serious. Because I think the issue people are having with Stephen A. Smith is that people view him in one way. People seem to believe that this guy is a Democrat or a liberal or progressive, however you want to describe him, based off of some of his rhetoric over the last 10 years. All right, on television, you can just pull him up. Whenever a social issue is brought up, you can go look at what Stephen A. Smith had to say. By and large, he sided with liberals and Democrats. So I think what's happening is that people are clashing with what they've heard about him and what they know about him versus the new things that he's been saying over the last 9 to 10 months. And the issue is he keeps trying to say, even if you heard him in that sound, he's saying that he's a centrist. Here's why it's hard for people to take that particular comment seriously. A centrist would criticize both parties equally. A centrist would say, look, I don't like the way Jasmine Crockett speaks. I think that the way she speaks is rude or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But also, I don't like some of the things in the environment that the president has created with his rhetoric. That's a centrist. A centrist really doesn't care about offending either side. They call it down the line. But the issue Stephen A. Smith is having, even in his rebuttal video, he wasn't addressing it from a macro standpoint. He was simply looking at it from a microscopic level. Like, oh, well, Jasmine Crockett is this Jasmine. And I was saying, well, where did all of this emanate from? Who created this environment where now it's the Wild Wild West in U.S. politics? He refused to address that, although he's fully aware of it. So for me, I think he will be better suited if he came out and said, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. Really, and I'm going to tell you why. Because now people will understand where he lies. You won't have people calling him out and saying, oh, Stephen A. Smith is this, or he's that, or he's this and is that. No. If people understand that he's a Republican, I think it would better help him define his base as well. Because now when people go over to his channel and to watch his show, Straight Shooter, people know exactly what they're getting. But what's happening is they're getting conflicting messages. There's some people that follow him. They're like, bro, what's all of this? And they're calling him out. And then there are other people that follow him for some of his conservative views. And they're like, bro, what was it? So if you just came out and said, look, I'm this, I'm a Republican, I think it would better suit him. And also, I think that he would have a lot of support from those on the right. Truly. People like Patrick David for Valuetainment and others, Sean Hannity and all of these guys, I think they would take him into the fold because they already believe that Stephen A. Smith is a conservative. And the only reason he says some of the liberal things that he says on ESPN is because Disney isn't. That's what I believe. And some people have said that. The Patrick Davids and all of these guys. They believe that ESPN is and Disney is putting a muzzle on them. That's what they believe. So for me, I think Stephen A. Smith can eliminate all of this contention out there and this tension by just simply saying, look, I'm a Republican. And if you do that, then yeah, people will disagree with you, but they're like, okay, well, that's what a Republican or conservative will say. But people like me, and I still believe this, I believe Stephen A. Smith is grifting. I really, really do. And I think the reason that he's grifting is because, and he's afraid to call out the conservatives and the president and all that, is because he doesn't want to lose his base. Remember, these are the people that primarily platform him. They're the ones that primarily platform him. So the last thing you want to do is alienate them, and then you end up finding yourself in a situation where you're in total limbo, where you have no real allegiances and no one can say, okay, come over here because you're with us. No, that's the issue there. That's the issue. Conservatives are going to say, look, Jasmine Crockett is, and let me state this clearly. I don't like this type of language or how Jasmine Crockett speaks in terms of, some her language is quite like, it's harsh in the things that she says. But I don't like it when the president does it as well. That's the fundamental difference with me. I can say it clearly. I don't like it, and I don't like the environment of what politics has become. It's disgusting in the United States. It is. This is the fact of the matter. I have no issue saying that. Right? I don't like it at all. I liked it when politicians were more classy and wouldn't just go off the rails and say just absolutely disgusting things about their opposition. I don't like that. I think they should be above that if they're meant to be the leaders of society. Truly, that's just my view on issues. So I'm not one of these people that just defending Jasmine Crockett for the sake of defending her. No. The reason I'm coming to her defense is that I believe Stephen A. Smith going at her, he's going so hard at her, but is unwilling to call out the president. That's why I'm going out of here, because he also calls himself a centrist. And a centrist would not do that. A centrist will go hard at her, and a centrist will go hard at but he's not doing that. And this is what people are calling him out for. So the people that are saying Stephen A. Smith is a sellout and all of this stuff, look, I think Stephen A. Smith, man, if you want to get these people off your back, just say you're conservative. Nothing is going to happen. Literally. ESPN is still going to pay you $100 million. Sirius XM is still going to pay you that big ass check that they owe you. Nothing is going to happen. But at least people know where they stand with you. That's the thing. At least people know where they stand with you. I think that's what he should do. I think that's what he should do. And he's confusing it. Oh, you're saying that I can't call out okay. If Stephen A. Smith is a centrist, why are you always pointing out the flaws of the Democratic Party? Why? Number one. Number two, what is this? Why are you obsessed with going at Democrats? Why? Is Kamala Harris the first Democrat to lose an election? What is this obsession? Is she the first one to ever lose an election? Go look back at the past few candidates. Have they not been Republican, Democrat, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? How long has the Democratic Party been in power for? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? At one point, the Democrats reigned for 8 straight years with Obama. Then a Republican came in for 4 years. Then a Democrat came in. Then a Republican. What are we talking about? Stephen A. Smith is making it seem like the Democrats is like a new party that started last year or 2 years ago. Like they don't know anything about politics and how what are we talking about, bro? If you're a centrist, you can't tell me that Stephen A., the Democrats are not in power. They're not in power. So why are you spending so much time talking about a party that's not in power unless you want them to get their act together because you want them to win the next the midterms and win it in general? Is that what you want? Well, I can't tell. You want them to get it together. Why? So they can be what? So they can compete against the Republicans? Really? You think that's what your base want? This guy's all over the place. I believe he's a Democrat. Some people think he's secretly a conservative. No, I believe my stance on this is, I believe he's a Democrat that saw an opportunity for political expediency and really to blow up his name. So he fashioned himself, or rather, he called himself a centrist that spews all conservative right-wing talking points. That's what I believe. And I believe, and I said it on multiple occasions, if the pendulum swings, and it always does, because things are cyclical, and you see the Democrats clean house in the midterms, or a Democrat becomes the president, Stephen A. Smith going to turn it around. Oh, man, you see the Republicans, they didn't know what they was doing, and blah, 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 blah. You guys need to get it. You just watch and see.